Greetings, programs. Today, we're going to get a bit more into Superman 2025, my thoughts, theories, and just give you a little bit of history. What we're going to be talking about is the Stag Industries bit, and how much involvement Stag Industries and Stag himself is going to have in this movie. Hard to say, but I definitely do like the idea that he's involved somehow and that he's on the hero's radar at the moment. But the thing is the most important thing, at least to me, when it comes to Stag Industries, is the main man himself, Rex Mason. Rex Mason is the Element Man Metamorpho, and I love when we first get a look at him and how practical everything is. I can't say for certain how practical the body will be, but seeing how practical the face is, I have high hopes. I just love the asymmetrical look on his face, just because in any other scenario, his face either just would be blank or this whole thing would just be CGI and his eyes would be the only real thing. I just love what's being done here. And just to give y'all a little bit of history on him for those that don't know, and nothing too crazy, but Metamorpho was debuted in Brave and the Bold Metamorpho, the Element Man, of January 1965. This is where he'd be tasked with getting the Orb of Ra, and the assistant or the bodyguard of Stag would betray him, leaving him in the pyramid, which would lead him to being irradiated or just affected by the unknown meteorite in the pyramid, leaving him changed in ways he would not expect, leaving him with not just necessarily a disfigurement, but with also new abilities, allowing him to change shape and form due to whatever chemical compound that he has in mind. And he initially has a struggle of his image and just wanting to be cured, and he kind of has that throughout the years, but his girlfriend at the time, the daughter of Stag, Sapphire, encourages him to hold strong and basically to become a hero, which is not too dissimilar to that of the Thing of the Fantastic Four and him and his wife. But I believe that with Metamorpho, it's a bit more, he has an easier time getting through it than I'd say the Thing does. But something I find interesting, the most recent trailer for Superman, is how Superman is trapped, Metamorpho has kryptonite in hand, or at least turns his hand into kryptonite. And I believe this is only capable due to Lex Luthor either seeing the meteor shower years ago and being like, hey, I'm going to go find as much meteorite as possible, because maybe he's put together that if Superman's from space, then the meteorite may have to do something with him, or possibly he gets the read on the meteorite due to him being in the Fortress of Solitude. Sorry about that, blinked for a moment. But I just find this interesting just because he somehow has Metamorpho stuck here, which I believe is because either A, Sapphire has been taken by Lex Luthor and is trapped in one of these other boxes, or just something has been put in place to keep Metamorpho from leaving. Because if he isn't physically trapped, there is no real weakness to Metamorpho except for the Orb of Ra. And the upper limits to his abilities at this moment, to my knowledge, is that there's no real limit outside of his knowledge of chemicals. And what I find interesting in this next shot is how when he's like forming into a new form or creating whatever element, he is like disintegrating his body. We're seeing the bones, we're seeing him become from one thing to another. I just love the visual of just Metamorpho in the live action. And something that we should also know, which I doubt he'll show up in this movie, but Metamorpho does have a dog called Metamorpho, which is a new addition to the Element Clan, as I like to call them. And I definitely would love to see something similar to that of Crypto the Super Dog, and how he teams up with other hero pets, some little animation or some other project down the line with Metamorpho involved, or even just Metamorpho and Crypto just having fun teaming up and just terrorizing both their owners. Like this, when Metamorpho showed up, I was ecstatic because I just love pets for heroes. I feel like more heroes should have pets, and just how the pet just represents the hero in question, or just how the pet would use said abilities, you know? And when I say the Element Clan, there is more than one element person, you know. I'm throwing that up on screen. Rex is the original, then Urania, then Emily, Metamorpho, and Algon. You can find out more about them in the Metamorpho comic, The Element Man. Unless you'd like me to cover that, let me know. But from here, we'll talk about the teams that he's been part of, the Justice League International, which I do believe that the Justice League International probably going to be the first spin-off Justice League team we see in this universe. I just say that just because of the way that James Gunn is setting up this universe and this Justice League and the different heroes at this moment. I feel like Justice League International makes the most sense as the secondary hero team, or at least the spin-off hero team to the Justice League Prime. And he's also been part of the Justice League Europe, the Batman and the Outsiders, which most people probably know him from, which definitely, if you have not read any of the Batman and the Outsiders, please give it a check, because it's a great read, especially for Metamorpho. And a team that I love the most that he's been on is the Terrifics, which, speaking of Terrifics, let's get into Mr. Terrific. The Mr. Terrific that we're getting in the Superman movie was introduced in The Spectre, issue 54, 1997. His name is Michael Holt. We're introduced to him standing on the edge of a bridge, ready to kill himself. And this is only because he's given up on everything. But a group of kids try to come and rob him at the same time. The Spectre comes in, scares them off, and attempts to try to get Michael to basically not give up. And Michael Holt lets him know that he has no reason to go on. His wife has died in a car accident. All his achievements, science, everything that he's done in sports does not matter without her. And in hearing this, the Spectre basically tells him the story of Terry Sloan, the original Mr. Terrific, basically letting him know how he's fought gangsters of his time, criminals, inspired the kids in that area. He's basically, he was the man on the ground. He was the street tier hero that people needed at the time. And he's trying to ensue hope in Michael Holt into basically taking on the identity and doing the same thing. And it did inspire him. Like, he decided to take on the name of Mr. Terrific. He goes after the kids, beats up the guys that tried to get the kids to join in on this criminal behavior. And so Michael then shows the kids, essentially, through these actions, he shows the kids that there's someone that looks like them, that's willing to protect them, that's willing to inspire them, And after this, the three criminals are almost swept away by the Spectre. But the thing is that Michael, he essentially says he'll take the chance on these three so that the Spectre doesn't take them away. Basically just essentially fighting for their souls to not be basically damned to hell because of the Spectre. But the thing is that the Spectre did this on purpose, just so that criminals and even anyone that could be watching could see that he would stand up to someone like the Spectre, someone who's so otherworldly, and that he would have basically reputation and have a legend onto who he is. Because imagine you see someone fighting basically a phantom who's known to be with these superhero teams and to do all these wildly fantastical things. What would you think? What would you do? How would you react? But let's get into Michael Holt for the Superman movie. I love the suit. I love how the T-Sphere looked. I love how he's just calm and collected throughout the trailers. I love how he's just essentially, we're probably going to see him handle business and be on top of everything from point A to point Z. And something that I love the most, I always love this about him, is that his T-mask. His T-mask hides him from technology, cameras, recording devices, overall from top to bottom. He cannot be seen, he cannot be found through technology. And for those that don't know, he is one of, if not the smartest person in DC. And for anyone that's a Batman fan, yes, he's smarter than Batman. Batman is smart in his own avenue and to a degree. But Michael Holt is the smartest man in the world. And sure, there's Lex Luthor, but he'll outdo Lex Luthor with ease. I can truly believe that. And yes, I have read many of Michael Holt's appearances. I've gone through his comics. Michael Holt is the smartest. But also in this next frame, I love how Michael's just pulling up, sitting in a chair, instead of standing up and flying or being held by one of the others to get there. It's just he comes in the most comfortable and most realest way to show up if you don't have the power to fly. And the thing is that with this being his frame of travel, I do hope that we get him traveling on T-spheres and getting around like that. I doubt we'll see it in this movie, but I hope that either in his own movie, his own show, that will get him riding around on T-spheres, zipping around looking just fly as ever. And the thing is that something I would like to see, in the New 52, the Blackhawks were changed to be like basically government tools, and they were going to try to take the technology that Michael has and even try to take him in, because basically they see his technology as like not a crime against humanity, but like too dangerous to not have control over. And like there's layers to that conversation of black creations being constricted by white counterparts, black intelligence being shackled to whiteness because they fear it or like they want to control it. Granted, I don't necessarily want to see the Blackhawks, like this version of the Blackhawks, in the movies, in this movie universe. Maybe they can start this way and evolve into what they truly are, like protectors, or they can be one faction of the Blackhawks, and this is what the government sees the Blackhawks as, and we can actually get the true Blackhawks from like Carter Hall and Kendrick Saunders, however it may be. But in any case, I just would love to see this kind of layered conversation with his character. And for those that don't know, Mr. Terrific currently is getting a Mr. Terrific like year one story, where essentially we're kind of getting a bit more details and a bit more behind the scenes on his grieving of his wife and just him as a hero coming into his own and realizing that his past, present, and future is having some not conflict, but like has some involvement in what's going on currently. And the thing is that something to understand that he has been a street tier hero. He's been with the JSA and other Justice League types, and he's been interdimensional travels. He has his own team, the Terrifics, and his origins has been tweaked over time. He's like from his original one with the Spectre to him not involving the Spectre, and the main thing that's been kept around is that his wife dies, and things I believe also that he has his unborn child also dies with his wife. So how they're gonna go about his origins for this universe, I hope they keep the Spectre bit, just because I do like the idea that the Spectre saw someone in need of inspiring, of support, and like gave that to him or gave that to someone, and then that person takes that and runs off with their own skills and capabilities to become a hero of their own. Like, I don't know, I like that, so I hope that we get to keep that and see a bit of that in the universe, because also I would love to see live action Spectre. But let me know what you think of Michael Holt and Metamorpho, and what do you think for the Superman movie. What are you excited for? And stay nerdy.